Greetings, church. We are in the month of November, and today is November the 6th, 2020. And this is Kevin Duclairon. This is an update. I am on my way right now. I'm on Broadway, and I'm on my way to PSU to see whether or not the library is open. I haven't been in a library for a while, and it's kind of nice to go in there at night and use their books to do some studying. Because I can't really get to my books. I just recently moved into a new storage. It's a little bit bigger than what I had. I have it all set up, but it's in two parts. The front part is sort of like what I would have wanted if I had gotten that creative space a couple of months ago. I have the desk there in the middle and the bookshelves all set up like an office, and in the back is all of the storage. Problem is, I can't sit in there and study. I can't take the books out and open the books and use the information for sermons because I don't have a permanent teaching position in Portland. So it's once in a while I come out and I'll preach the gospel or something. I recently preached the gospel. This was on Wednesday night. I went to the police department. The Lord sent me there because he told me that there was KKK activity in the city of Portland. So I needed to go and find out if I could take precautions to protect myself because I've been getting hit. As you know, I've gotten hit in the tent several times. Somebody threw a beer can, and exploded in the tent, rocks at the tent, and then they leave me M&Ms behind. So they've done a lot of stupid stuff apart from coming in and having sex with my body and cutting me and piercing me, which is still going on. But they did all of that. And then on Wednesday night, when I got my SSDI on Wednesday, I had to go do that. That's their cultural standard when you get paid from Social Security or you get any kind of financial assistance from them. You got to do that for them. That's their stick in the mud. I'm not too stuck on it. I don't particularly agree because of the scriptures, because the Bible tells us to be holy for I am holy. But I'm a foreigner, and not only a foreigner, but I'm trying to keep my nose out of trouble with those people. So I went there and did all of that. But anyway, long story short, this isn't what this video is all about. When I got to the police department, there were police officers everywhere outside. They looked like they were ready to fight a gang. Across the street was Black Lives Matter protesters. So I walked in, and I was just about to go to the counter, and I was stopped by a blonde woman who reminds me of Carol Banks. It wasn't Carol, but she reminds me of Carol Banks, and Carol being a representative of Sandra, which is a member of my own household. She basically cut me down and told me to leave. I called her a bitch. I couldn't hold it in front of the police that was outside. I was hurt and I was angry because all I asked her was if I can get some kind of idea of what's going on in the city concerning the KKK. Anyway, long story short, I made a sign and went out to Pioneer Square Park, and I stood in front of the Chase Bank and spoke to them. At the Pioneer Square Courthouse were police officers with machine guns, all dressed up in black. They were all around the building, I guess protecting the building from being vandalized. And from a distance, Black Lives Matter, as I was preaching, came out. And right now I'm at the PSU campus. Black Lives Matter came out, and I read this passage to them coming out of, I think it's 1 Corinthians 13, the whole passage on love. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I have become sounding brass on a clanging cymbal. Paul says, and though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow on all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned but have not love, it profits me nothing, and so on and so forth. All the way down to verse 13. He says, verse 12 says, for now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know just as I also am known. And now abides faith, hope, love, these three, but the greatest of these is love. Then I went over to, okay, and I explained to them what brought me out to the park to preach. And then I went to Genesis 9, where God has this, Genesis 6, I think, first, where God has a conversation with Noah and said that his heart is grieved at the fact that man is so wicked. I read a couple of those passages, and then I went to Genesis 9, where he makes a covenant with Noah. And upon the covenant, from what I can remember off the top of my head, he was no longer going to judge the earth. But the whole purpose of the flood was because there was violence on the earth, and the violence is what led him to judge. And so my emphasis became that we need to love and stop the violence. And as I was talking and preaching, the group came out about 150 to 200 people, all dressed up in black with, I don't know what kind of weapons they had, but they were outraged. They didn't say anything as I was preaching. And I preached for about probably 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so. And that was it. I walked away, and I gave them a warning: if you don't stop the violence, then God will, because he didn't create us for that purpose. He doesn't want a reenaction of Cain and Abel. And I don't remember saying Cain and Abel, but that's pretty much the gist of it. Then afterwards, I went up to McDonald's and got some coffee. I couldn't go to sleep. I wasn't allowed. So I had to spend the night canning, collecting cans, walking around the city. And the Lord was the one who directed me to the places where I would find cans. So for all night long, then I went to UGM, got some food and drink. And then I later went to RSD on 8th, and where I had the 8x10 broken. And I pitched a tent for a couple hours. And that was pretty much it. But nothing has changed in terms of my situation. We're here at the library right now. That's the library building right there. Nothing has changed in my situation with Gabriel. She still comes in. She still does that without my consent. I'm still called to do that. It's like people are looking at me like you're a nasty Haitian, for doing that for these people. And I'm thinking, that's not me. That's just the situation that I'm in. It's like, that's not my life. My life is in Christ. Okay, my life is in Christ. My life is not in that. My life is not in doing that, serving that, and so on and so forth. Anyway, I wanted to offer an apology to the Spanish department, or to the Spanish people, because I went to Don Pedro a couple days ago and had a meal out on 181st Street, I think. And apparently I offended them because they could feel, I'm sick, I'm terminally ill. And so they felt me, and the Spanish have just been giving me, the cold shoulder, and felt like, I stepped on a toe. I didn't intend to step on a toe. I didn't intend to offend them. And so I apologized to the restaurant, and because they were feeling my stomach, and that's probably not something, a restaurant owner and the workers want to feel when you're trying to serve food. So I kind of feel bad, and I was just like, okay, Lord, you need to give me a new race to deal with, because these people just don't understand what it means to be sick, so I apologize to them openly and publicly, because, it's a restaurant and we got to give them their respect. Okay. They serve great food. Anyway, apart from that, I just came back from 24 hours, and you wouldn't believe that somebody stole my underwear. And I'm sitting there going, somebody did not just do that to me. And they did. Yeah, I was. And they did. There was another African brother there wearing red and black. I didn't accuse him directly, but I left a message there openly so that it can be interpreted in whatever way. I prayed for God to punish the person that had the key to my storage, not to my storage, but to my locker. And just a couple hours before that, I was at a 79th Street on Gleason doing my laundry, and I got into a scuffle with an African guy because, just too close because of the whole COVID thing. And then here I come to 24 hours, and I'm like, okay, so this got to stop. Anyway, I'd like to go into great details about things that are going on here. As you can see behind me, I'm at the campus, beautiful PSU. And it's I think the library is all shut down, but I'm going to check anyway. Anyway, keep me in your prayer, and I'll keep you in mine. And you guys prepare for Thanksgiving and have a great weekend. And I'll talk to you later. I'm going to be doing John, I think the Gospel of John this month, just reading it out in the public, not doing what I did with Romans. And pray that God delivers me out of this situation so I can have a real office instead of this, how do you say, hole in the wall type of thing. Somebody walk by and they might they might get offended and think that it's actually an office. No, it's a storage. I just put everything in there because it's an incentive to remind me that I need to keep going with the ministry, and take God at his word. I think Proverbs says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. And it looks like the library is actually closed. You can see all the welcome to PSU University Library, but they're closed. Anyway, so remember that passage I just read, and I'll talk to you later.